So now that we have that knowledge, I'm going to go ahead and do preferences, initialize. Let's talk about those axes that I was promising you. So I'm going to grab another cube 3D, drag it out, go into edit mode, turn on polyframe, and I'm going to make it a polymesh 3D so we can sculpt on it. And I'm going to go into geometry, and I'm going to divide this thing. Now, if I hit Control D or hit this divide key, what's going to do is going to kind of soften those edges. And if you don't want it to do that, I'm going to hit Control Z. If you don't want it to do soften your edges or average, that it's basically doing is averaging those vertices, you can turn off this SMT. If you roll over that, that's a subdivision smooth modifier. You can turn that off and then hit divide. And then if you turn on polyframe, you're going to see it gave me the resolution. It still looks the same, but there's now more resolution. So if I go back to subdiv 1 just by clicking and dragging, here's the lower, here's higher. If I hit divide again, it's going to look the exact same, but if you click on polyframe, you're going to see it has even more resolution. So it's a little bit tricky. It's showing you the same model, but it's basically taking that model, giving you more resolution, but not changing the size, not averaging any vertices on you. It's not melting your object. So that can come in handy quite a bit. I'm going to go ahead and turn SMT back on. So now we've got 3 levels of subdivision on this object, and I'm going to polyframe here. So subdivisions, or axes here. So I'm going to go to back here, and we're going to illustrate a little bit. So back in school, you had, let's go ahead and, you know what, I'm going to hit Control D a couple times. I got 5 subdivision levels. So if I hold down Alt, I'm going to drag a line here. And if you hold down Alt and then hold down Shift, it'll actually constrain it. So that's something that'll, when we get into the hard edge stuff, will come in a lot of handy here. But when you were in school, you had different quadrants. So you basically had, and this is an X and Y plane. So let's just pretend this is a flat object. So you've basically got your, let's say this is your, and I hope this is right because it's been a while. Let's say this is your Y, and this is your X. And so when you're talking about a flat object, and you've got X and Y coordinates, that's just a flat plane. And so you've basically got, here's positive X, here's negative X, oops. Here's negative X across this X symmetry line. And then you've got negative and positive against this Y symmetry line as well. So remember, this is your Y, this is your X, and then when you turn on X symmetry, it's actually going to be X symmetry across the negative and positive X. Let's go ahead and undo. Let's actually click and drag up here. Let's clear this out. So now that we've got our X and Y in our flat plane, we've got X going this way and Y going this way. If you add another dimension to that, that's 2 dimensions. If you go and add another dimension, which let's go ahead and say it's this way. This is, I can do better than that. I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit and get into some fancier stuff. That's going to be our Z. So looking at a flat plane, you've got X symmetry across this direction, X, the X line. You've got symmetry across this direction if you want to with Y, and then you've also got Z as Z-axis. You've got X, Y, and Z. Those are your 3 dimensions. That's the dimension that we live in, so things are 3-dimensional, and that's basics of 3D right there, is X, Y, and Z coming straight out. Now some modeling programs have ZBrush is Z forward usually. Some programs are Y up, Z forward. Basically, I'm probably going to end up staying in a Z forward centric world. Basically what that means is Z is going to come straight out at us, and then X symmetry is this way, Y symmetry is this way. That's all that means. So let's go ahead and undo that. And I'm actually going to drag back here. So now, let's see if this will cooperate. So we've got transform on. I'm going to activate symmetry by, you can hit X to toggle that on and off. And now we have X symmetry. Now remember, we had these lines here. So X symmetry is this line right here on this flat plane. So now we have symmetry on this direction here. So here's negative X, positive X. If we turn on Y symmetry, you're going to have symmetry in the X-axis and Y-axis because they're both turned on. If you only want to have Y symmetry, turn X off just by tapping it. And now you've got Y symmetry here. So now you can make a perfect Y line here. And then we can do, here's positive and negative Y, and you're going to see that's actually upside down up there. Here's your Y-axis. And then if you turn on X and Y, you can do them both at the same time. So here's X and Y axes. So you can do really cool stuff. And again, once we get into custom alphas and stuff, you're really going to have a lot of fun with this. So this is X and Y symmetry. And then if you turn on X, Y, and Z symmetry, we have to go, again, because Z symmetry isn't on a flat plane, it's this way as well. Now you can do X, Y, and Z symmetry on an object. So I hope that makes sense, and as you get more comfortable in 3D, and as we start getting into the more of the box modeling stuff, you'll get a little bit more comfortable with, how things are across an x-axis, a y-axis is the axis. But just to keep it really simple, I'm going to drag this all the way back to the very first start thing we started out with. I'm going to turn off all this, activate symmetry, turn X on, and leave this M alone. M mirror symmetry is just something you generally want to have on. If you accidentally turn that off, you're going to have some funky things going to happen. So just keep in mind, just leave that on. Leave that alone for now.